We live in a world overflowing with noise. Phones buzzing, screens glowing, voices never stopping. But in chasing constant sound, we've forgotten the one thing that truly transforms life: silence. And sometimes the answers you're searching for are waiting in the quiet you keep avoiding. And today I will tell you a story that will fill your life with peace. In a bustling city of endless traffic, glowing screens, and hurried footsteps, lived a young man named Kabir. Kabir was like most people around him, always busy, always moving, always surrounded by sound. He believed silence was useless, even dangerous. To him, silence meant boredom, and boredom meant wasted time. So he filled every corner of his day with noise. When he woke up, his alarm was not just a beep, but a blaring song. He turned on the TV while brushing his teeth, letting the news anchor's voice mix with commercials and weather reports. On his commute, he plugged in his headphones and scrolled through his phone, drowning in podcasts, music, and endless notifications. In the office, his computer hummed, his phone buzzed, people chattered, keyboards clicked. He never worked without background music. It was as if silence made him feel naked, exposed. And when the day finally ended, instead of resting, he sat in front of another glowing screen. Movies, shows, games. His nights were as loud as his days. Kabir lived in noise. He moved in noise. He even slept in noise. And yet, deep inside, he often felt restless. He had achievements, good job, nice apartment, friends to hang out with, but something was missing. At night, when everything should have felt peaceful, he felt hollow, as if his life was full, yet empty. One summer evening, Kabir received a phone call. It was his grandfather. The old man still lived in the family's ancestral home on the edge of a small village, far from the city's chaos. His voice, calm and unhurried, carried across the line. "Kabir," he said, "it has been too long. Come visit me this weekend. The air is fresh here, and the fields miss your footsteps." Kabir hesitated. He loved his grandfather dearly, but the village meant poor internet, no buzzing cafes, no nightlife. Just silence. But something inside him, something he couldn't name, whispered, "Go." And so, reluctantly, Kabir packed a small bag and boarded the train the next morning. The village was nothing like the city. When Kabir stepped off the bus, the first thing he noticed was the absence of sound. No honking horns, no construction drills, no endless chatter of strangers. Only the soft rustle of leaves, the distant song of a cuckoo, and the occasional mooing of cows. At first, it unsettled him. His ears searched for noise, but found none. It felt too quiet, too empty. When he reached the house, his grandfather welcomed him with a warm smile and an embrace. The old man's face was lined with years, but his eyes still glowed with energy. "You look tired," his grandfather said. "Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the tiredness of a restless heart." Kabir forced a smile. "Work has been busy, Dabaji. You know how it is in the city." The grandfather only nodded, as if he understood more than Kabir was willing to admit. That night after dinner, Kabir's grandfather handed him a lantern. "Come," he said, "let's sit outside." Kabir followed him into the courtyard. The night sky stretched above them, vast and studded with countless stars. The kind of sky the city never allowed him to see. They sat in silence for a while. The only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the gentle whisper of the wind. Kabir shifted uncomfortably. His hand instinctively reached for his phone, but his grandfather gently placed a hand over his. "Do you hear that?" the old man asked. Kabir frowned. "Hear what? There's nothing." His grandfather smiled softly. "Exactly. Nothing. That is what you've been missing." Kabir chuckled awkwardly. "Dadaji, silence doesn't say anything. It's just empty." The old man's eyes twinkled. No, my boy, silence is not empty. It is full of the answers you have been running from. Kabir didn't know what to say. For the first time in years, Kabir tried to simply sit. No music, no scrolling, no conversations. Just sit. At first, it was torture. His mind screamed at him. Thoughts raced. The emails he hadn't answered, the deadlines waiting, the shows he hadn't finished. His fingers twitched, craving the comfort of a screen. But then, something surprising happened. Slowly, like ripples settling on a pond, his thoughts began to quiet. The noise in his head softened. He heard things he had long forgotten, the distant hoot of an owl, the steady rhythm of his own breathing, the beating of his heart. And beneath all of it, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Clarity. In that quiet, he realized how much of his life had been spent running from silence. He remembered all the times he had avoided being alone with his thoughts, all the times he had drowned out discomfort with noise. And in that stillness, one truth rose within him. He was living everyone else's priorities, not his own. The next morning, Kabir walked with his grandfather through the fields. The old man pointed to the crops swaying gently in the breeze. Do you see these plants? They don't grow because of noise. They grow in silence, day after day, quietly, patiently. No rush, no distraction, just steady progress. They came to a river. The water flowed slowly, but with purpose, carving valleys over centuries. The river does not roar every second, but its silence has more strength than the loudest storm. Kabir listened, his heart heavy. For the first time, he realized the truth of his life. He had mistaken constant activity for progress, constant noise for meaning. But real growth, real understanding came from silence. That evening, Kabir sat again under the stars. This time, he didn't resist the silence. He let the quiet seep into him, like cool water soaking dry soil. His restless thoughts returned, but he didn't run. He watched them, let them pass, and waited. And slowly, he began to hear his own heart. He realized he didn't want a life filled only with screens and deadlines. He wanted time with family. He wanted to create, not just consume. He wanted peace, not constant stimulation. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of truth, full of answers, full of life. When Kabir returned to the city, he wasn't the same. He didn't abandon his work or his responsibilities, but he no longer drowned in noise. He carved out moments of silence each day, walking without headphones, eating without distractions, sitting quietly before sleep. At first, his friends laughed. "What's the point of just sitting and doing nothing?" they teased. But Kabir smiled, because he knew silence was not nothing, it was everything. In that silence, he found clarity. In that silence, he found peace. And in that silence, he rediscovered himself. Months later, Kabir visited his grandfather again. This time, when they sat under the stars, Kabir was the one who spoke. "Dadaji, I used to think silence was empty. Now I know it is full of truth, full of answers, full of life. Noise fills the world, but silence fills the soul."
The old man's eyes gleamed with pride. "You have finally heard it. We live in an age where silence feels uncomfortable. We fill every empty moment with sound, screens, chatter, and endless scrolling. But the more we run from silence, the further we run from ourselves. Noise distracts. Silence heals. So stop filling your life with noise. Stop drowning in distractions. Give yourself moments of stillness, even if just a few minutes each day. Because in silence, your real priorities reveal themselves. Remember this: noise fills the world, but silence fills the soul.